I would call it on the top left with queen 9, I think, and pretty good flop. My standard would be to flat on the top left. It's not a board that's particularly conducive to barreling, but we just have it so crushed, and it's not like we've been monkeying around very much, so I don't think that raising will get him to spaz out all that often. And if he does have a better made hand, I don't think there aren't very many ways that the money won't get in if he does have better than queen 9. Or sorry, if he does have like a queen or something like that. Bottom right, I would c-bet. And top left, he bet really large, and I think I'd just stick it in here. I don't really love his bet sizing, but we've got so little behind. I can't see him bluffing the river with how little we have left, and I think that there's a decent chance that he's just betting to commit himself with a draw or something along those lines, and that he's just going to call if you shove with those draws, but he might just check fold rivers where he bricks with draws. So I would just shove there and expect him to call a lot, and if he does fold, I wouldn't expect him to have put money in on the river anyways. So yeah, I guess you can time down if you want, but I wouldn't be using up my time bank. Leonis is thinking about it, which is strange. You don't expect someone to be betting that turn without knowing if he's going to snap, call, or snap fold. And he folds, so it's worth noting that he bet really large on the turn with pure air, I guess. So we'll keep that in mind. Okay, bottom left, I would c-bet as a standard. I don't think checking is like the end of the world if your opponent's the type of person to try and pounce on checks in spots like this. A lot of players will just assume if someone checks that they've got ace high or an under pair that they can barrel them off of. So if you're playing against that type of opponent, checking a hand like this from time to time is pretty cool. But my standard would be to bet. People are going to float you and screw around a lot. And for the most part, they're not going to be the types of people to just try and barrel people off pairs on boards like this. So I don't think, against your typical opponent, I don't think you're going to get that many stabs if you check a hand like this. Top or bottom left, I would keep betting. I don't hate a check, but it's really working under the assumption that he floated you on the flop and you're trying to check to induce a bluff. That's really the main merit that I see of checking here. But my standard would be to bet. I think he might be liable to check back some worse queens, which would be pretty disastrous because we won't be able to stack worse queens, which would suck. And I think it's possible that he'd get stubborn with like pocket eights, pocket nines, whereas he just check those back if we check to him. So he does check, and I think his most like I would definitely bet the river now. I think checking the turn has value for inducing floats, and then occasionally for making your line look a little bit bluffy by checking turn betting river. So I don't mind that line to try and maybe get calls from eights and nines more often than you would if you bet the turn, although that's debatable. But yeah, that assumption or that line works if you bet the river. In this case, I would have bet the river. And if he bets Leonis, I would definitely check raise. And definitely on this size, it really looks like he just has like queen 10 or something. Bottom right, I think that's fine. And yeah, top right. Oh, that's good that he's check raising. Yeah, top right, pretty standard. And nice hand. So I guess he had a worse queen. He called pretty fast. So far, Leonis doesn't seem that great. Sorry if you're a CardRunners member. Because his bet size on the turn in the 3-bet pot earlier when he was pure bluffing was kind of strange. And then on the bottom left, I think that snap bet calling a queen there and betting that size. Well, snap bet calling the queen I think is debatable because you're bluff catching and it's not a spot that people in Farnod's shoes are going to be bluffing that often. And then betting that size kind of looks pretty transparent.